Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our weekly Sunday podcast. My name is Sivam Velayudham, and I am the founder and president at Voice of Men 360. I want to share a couple of things about our organization before I bring our special guest for today. Voice of Men 360 is a non-profit organization founded in 2020 in London, Ontario, Canada, dedicated to supporting men and boys through life challenges. We align with the International Men's Day movement and its six pillars, which promote the well-being of men and boys worldwide. Open Up creates a safe space, inclusive space for people from all walks of life to share their life journeys, challenges, and triumphs. The program airs Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, featuring one guest per episode. Before I introduce our special guest today, I would like to review our disclaimer. We would like to remind everyone that Voice of Men 360 is committed to promoting peaceful harmony in all our interactions. The views and opinions shared by our speakers are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Voice of Men 360. Please note that our content is not a substitute for professional medical or therapeutic advice. If you are struggling with the personal challenges, we strongly encourage you to reach out to a qualified expert. For questions or concerns about today's episode or any of our content, feel free to email us at info@voiceofmen360.org. I'm really excited about today's guest. His name is Augustine Obeng, founder of a few great initiatives, including Changing Lanes, Obeng Consulting, and Poetic Therapy. He is also an author, social worker, York University ambassador. This is my time, Mr. York University. Community leader, mental health advocate, and his special motto, that's one I really like that, or even a special line is that remember it's never too late to change lanes. Absolutely. Great pleasure to have you, Mr. Augustine. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Thank you for joining again. So I am also going to display his contact details and also his because of the author and the book links time to time. So the three areas, or I would say four areas, we will be discussing: importance of literacy, reading, writing, and comprehension; the importance of strong family bonds; and faith. Um, Absolutely welcome, Augustine. So I really want to take you back a couple of years. We let's say uh, what experience shaped the educator, social worker, author, and community advocate for you or today?
First of all, for having me on your platform. The initiative that you are doing is amazing. It's important to get the word out and to connect with the people. So it's my pleasure to be here. As it relates to some of the motivating factors or things that contributed to me engaging in literacy and academia and community engagement, I would say the foundation, or my foundation, started off with my parents. They're staunch advocates of education and um, taking school very seriously as a path for upward mobility and personal development and growth. I'd also got to give a shout out to my mentors, my brothers, and my immediate family and friends who also encouraged me along the way as well. So um, it's definitely, I'm not here by, I believe that no man is an island, and we are a microcosm or a compilation of our circle, our social bond. So The reason why I do the work I do is for community and is to leave a lasting impact.
Absolutely, yeah. It's always great to see, and also great to mention those people, remembering them, because it's not one person cannot do everything. Also, time to time, a lot of people come to our lives and then shape our lives, and then it's also good to remember, especially time like this one. So let's when we talk about literacy, we often think only about reading and writing. What does be truly a literate mean to you, and why is it comprehension such as an important part of it?
Literacy is definitely multifaceted. So when folks hear or think of the term literacy, what often comes to mind is reading, writing, but also very important comprehension and being able to read in between the lines and infer. I think I strongly believe that literacy is a vehicle or a skill. It's a lost art, especially in today's times where we're inundated with a lot of visual mediums and auditory things that kind of support or impact one's ability to comprehend and to read in between the lines. So I think I firmly believe that reading for me personally has changed my life and the trajectory of my life by getting into the habit or the practice of reading, writing as a form of expression, and reading and actually taking time to, you know, visualize and manifest and see some of the things that I've read, but not only reading physical books. I think that is very important, reading physical books, but also reading life, reading in between the lines, you know, seeing things that in life as we journey through this world, there's things that you could read in terms of your experiences, reading the room, reading the situations, reading, you know, I think reading is very important and it's critical to anyone's development. And it doesn't not necessarily have to take place within the classroom. It could take place outside of the classroom as well. So I think is very important to find what you're passionate about and to start there. But once you cultivate that skill or that skill set, I think it unlocks a lot of different doors for you to learn about everything.
Yeah, I agree with that, because when we read books, even it doesn't matter which books, either it's related to our studies or general story books, but it will take you to a different world, and then we can explore a lot of avenues, opportunities to look into deeper in lifehood. At the same time, that's probably starting point. At the same time, time to time, we come across a lot of different situations, experiences, so that will give us another experiences to learn more. Absolutely. So let's talk about boys and men. So what happens when boys and young men struggle with the reading, writing, or comprehension, and how can those challenges affect their confidence, education, relationships, and future opportunities? This is very important, though.
Uh, uh, I'm gonna get personal, and then I'm gonna share a story that kind of sparked my path in terms of literacy. You know, I grew up in a Ghanaian home. Um, we speak TWI. That's our native tongue. And for me, going to school, reading wasn't my strong suit. You know, I wasn't a strong reader. The books that we would read in school, I didn't necessarily relate to. So I had to really work hard in terms of developing and cultivating those skills. And I always remember my father used to, you know, share books for me to read and things like Sabbath school lessons for me to read. And he used to let me help me or encourage me to write lines and fill in the gaps. And, you know, we had spelling bee books and things of that nature. But I remember back in school, we had a parent teacher interview, and the teacher was talking about my reading skills and the fact that that was one area that I need to improve. And that was it really it really touched me because I thought that I was a strong reader. But now, when in hindsight, when I look back, I was a reading buddy. So I had to read. I think I was in grade 3. I was reading to the kindergartens, and at the time, I thought I was selected to be a reader because I was a strong reader. But in hindsight, it was because my reading wasn't at a strong level. So I had to cultivate those skills from a younger age. And then I'm going to fast forward to grade 5. I had a grade 5 teacher, Mr. England. He used to read poetry to us every morning and these things. So as a young boy, I was motivated by strong men in my life that encouraged me and emphasized the importance of reading. Then I'm going to fast forward to grade 7. I had a teacher named Mr. Mentelis. He also helped me to cultivate the skills in terms of essay writing and expressing myself through prose and poetry. And I think as a teacher and as a former student and as a current student, I'm a student of life. I find oftentimes when folks have challenges reading, especially young boys, it's an ego check. It hits the ego, especially when you have to read aloud in class. If you're unable to read fluently, it kind of hits one's self-esteem. And as boys, or young men, that's kind of a sore spot. So cultivating and creating a safe space for young people to read and to practice those skills is fundamental. And if those skills are not cultivated, I think it could permeate to later stages in life, right? So that's the importance of mentorship for older to, or teachers, men, family members, to kind of encourage men read. Uh, it, for me,
Augustine, your sound is muffling like on and off, cutting off. I don't know why. It was fine, and then suddenly, last couple of seconds, it was kind of like wasn't continue cutting off.
I,
Try now. I still do the same thing though. Yeah. C- can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Much better?
Yeah, yeah. Much better. Yeah.
My apologies. Essentially, I was just saying it's important to cultivate the skills of reading from a young age, and provide opportunities for young boys, particularly to exercise those skills. The reality is that young women or women read and develop at a quicker rate than men. That's just the stats, and it's important to put young boys in those situations where they can read. And for me, something that helped me is reading about basketball, reading about sports, reading about cars, reading about different prominent figures that I thought were successful and I wanted to replicate. So it's finding whatever your child or your youth, your young boy likes to read, and present them with those opportunities to nurture and foster those skills, because that will be something, that a skill that will help them later on in life. And also being a positive role model as an adult, get into the habit of reading, letting your children or your young people see you read, buy them books and sign them up for reading programs. I was fortunate enough to be a part of a reading program, many reading programs within the community and book clubs, and that kind of helped to foster my ability. And it's a skill that I have to this day, and it's literally changed my life.
Absolutely, I can understand and I can agree 200% why, because I can relate to that even from grade kindergarten or any grade you take every time, because most of the times I sitting in the front row and then the teacher asked me to read and then hey, stand up and read it. So that's the way I started my reading. And then of course every time you read loud, um, of course reading is you cannot read aloud every time when you are reading books or anything, but in the class you had to read loud. And then when you are start reading loud, your confidence level builds so much, like I can definitely connect with that. And then when I go back, it's really giving me even the leadership and every quality that you can imagine. That's coming from reading aloud, I would say. Right. So I absolutely agree with you. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying and then bringing back those memories, though. Thank you.
Right, no problem.
So you emphasize the importance of the strong family bonds. What can parents and caregivers do to create a home environment where children feel supported emotionally while also developing a strong communication and learning skills?
Ultimately, I believe. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Ultimately, I believe it starts at the home. Everything starts from the center. It starts from the children, it starts from the family, it starts at home. So I think it's important to, it's tough though, because the reality is the world that we live in, especially now, is very complex. There's many competing factors for time. Folks have to work, have to, deal with their own relationship challenges as well as their own individual wants and goals and needs and their health and their mental wealth and mental health. So I think that is very important. But creating or trying, working towards creating a braver, safer space where the child or the young person can be heard, and the parent can also be a positive teacher. I think it's tough, especially in these days. I hear a lot. I work with a lot of families and young people and young parents and older parents, and there's this notion of gentle parenting, and for some folks that's amazing. But I think it's important to not necessarily be your child's friend. You know what I mean? You have to be a disciplinarian, someone, an authority figure in a sense, an accountability partner, someone who pushes your child to be the best version of themselves. But in doing so, I think it's equally as important for you to be a real model, for you to be that person that they want to aspire to be, and to also to give them grace as they're growing. Oftentimes folks, I find it quite interesting when I'm working with parents, and sometimes they'll scold their child, or they'll be a little bit extremely hard on them, not recognizing and remembering that they were once a child, and they were once a youth, and they went through their own growing pains. So kind of giving them grace, giving them a cushion, to make mistakes and to fail forward, and not be extremely punitive, because the world that we live in is very punitive, and people do make mistakes. And I think it's important to create that dialogue and actually listen to the young person, listen to your child, let them create a space where they don't have to tiptoe in the home, but where they feel comfortable and open, and to relate to you as a parent, and to let you know what's going on. Because at the end of the day, if they're not able to do that at home, where do you think they're going to do that? And that's going to be outside, right? And typically parents have the best interest for their children. So I think it'll be super important, integral, for you to create a space where your child feels comfortable to be open and transparent with you. And social bonds, like, my parents used to always say, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. At the end of the day, we are, a product, or heavily influenced by our environment and the things that we ingest or intake. The age old debate, nature versus nurture, I think is a combination of both. And it's important for you to be accountable, and to take an active be actively participant be an active participant in your own growth and your own success, and accountable for places and spaces where you make an error, and just try your best to put your best foot forward, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, I agree because time to time we hear a lot of stories, especially in the last, the way the parenting is going on is, I would say the last 10, 20, even 30 years or so, especially young parents, they want to be so, you know, petting child or children, right? So it's giving a wrong signal, or um, wrong mindset to the kids. So of course, we don't want to be too abusive or too this and that. But at the same time, wherever we want to be strong, authoritative, and suppose you should do that. Otherwise, it's everything is easy going, and then once they rejected, they cannot handle the situations anymore, right? So there are a lot of psychological factors behind that, and later on the other hand, extreme cases where we can see people run away from homes and even hate father and son relationship or the whole family, and then they end up with gangs and everything, right? So it's so many studies and researches behind that. So you can people have to understand what role has faith played in your own journey, and how can faith, culture, and community help individuals and families build resilience during difficult times?
For me, faith is everything. It's the cornerstone of my essence of who I am. I firmly believe it's important to have knowledge of yourself, and in order to do so, it's important to see where you are now and to do some investigative research from where you came from, in order to inform where you want to go. How is this done? One might ask. By one taking time to get quiet and get still and really look at the person in the mirror and see where you are, who are you today, and where you want to be. Where did you come from? You know what I mean? I think that's very important. I think culture is very also important. Your DNA, where you come from, your heritage, the foods you like to eat, the customs and traditions that make up who you are. Although we live in Canada, or we live in the West, it's it's very diverse, and there's a lot of different cultures and languages and things of that nature, which are all equally important. But it's important to have knowledge of yourself and where you come from and who you are, identity. I think that's one of the major challenges today. You know, folks not necessarily knowing who they are and not really rooted in anything. And if you're not rooted in anything, you'll just be wayward. So I think that's very important as it relates to my faith and my culture. Like I said, I'm Ghanaian and I'm a Christian. So that's what I relate to and what I connect with, right? So I had to go on my own journey, my own odyssey, to understand and get knowledge of myself and where I came from. And that's a personal journey. Often some folks go on pilgrimages, you know, or they go to Mecca, or they go wherever, their faith center is, and they get grounded and get connected. So for me, I've done the same, and I continually do the same. Every day, I try to be the best version of myself, and try to just do things the right way in which I see fit. My personal journey with faith, 20 years ago is when I made a decision, uh, and since then, my life has changed tremendously. It has not been, all roses, but I've been just trying to be the best person I could be, and that's that. So I would encourage everybody to find whatever center it is for you, whatever makes you feel complete, and do your own research and find out what works for you. And at the end of the day, it's all about the golden rule, right? Just try
Absolutely, yeah.
to.
Because you know, faith can be it's a different meaning to each person. At the same time, like you said, it's you have to do your own research and then connect with your own faith. Even sometimes it's yourself, and also the universe and everything you see, nature. So you have to have your faith. So that's the way we can survive. Absolutely. And
Also, one thing, just to add to that, one thing that I has also helped me is taking time to appreciate other people and their faith and their journey and their culture, right? And the more I've done research to get to know with an open mind, I've realized there are more similarities and differences, right? So that's something that I also appreciate, and not approach life from a dogmatic stance where, hey, this is right and this is what it is and there's nothing else. No, there's different things you could pick and choose from other faith systems, other cultures, and marry that into yours, and then you
Um, Sorry, Austin, we lost you. Are you there, Austin? So he will join back. Absolutely, he was talking about faith, not necessarily always religion connected to faith connected to religion, but it can be different meaning to a different person. But what I was going to ask him, and then of course connecting with a couple of things, he's working on that. Especially, he's working with young men, boys, and he's leading, he's helping a lot of people. So, what are the challenges, especially nowadays? Any culture, any backgrounds, our young men, what are they are facing? Nowadays, it's very crucial to know that, and what are the root of the cause we need to know, and this way we can come up with solutions.
hello.
Um, yeah, Augustine, we lost you for a second, couple of seconds. Absolutely, I agree with you about the faith, but I want to ask you, since you have been working with a lot of boys, young men, youth, what what kind of challenge, especially boys and young men, facing nowadays? What kind of interactive or what kind of message you are getting from them? You had to mute yourself, unmute yourself. Oh, we lost again. Okay. So quickly, I am displaying his website address and also email address, and the link for his book. Um, are you back? Can you?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So I was going to ask you. I was asking about what kind of interaction or questions or message you are getting or receiving from young boys, young men, since you have been working with them, helping them.
Great question. One of the main questions that I get from young people when I connect with them is, how did I get the motivation, or what inspired me to do the work that I do? How do they know what direction they should go in? Um, you know, and oftentimes I know they're battling, decisions. Everybody wants instant gratification these days, right? And everything is about social media and stuff. So a lot of young people don't see the value in actually going to school, um, because of this, the way the world is constructed. So it's like, why go to school when I could work? I don't want to go to school for 4 years and then try to get a job when I could just get a job right now, or I could just do something else, right? And do my passion right now and start my own business. So I think is this in terms of life path, in terms of what they want to do and how to get there, and just trying to um, navigate the waters, because they're inundated with so much information on social media and just in the world in general. So it's just trying to find the right path in which they want to the charter. I think that's one of the main questions, and then a lot of this motivation, and just courage to do the things, to do work, and just to get going. A lack of motivation, I think, and direction is the main thing I see. And then also just the young people are very knowledgeable, and they see the sign in the times of, society and how it's going on, what's going on. There's a lot of folks are not working and don't have jobs. AI is taking over, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of hopelessness in terms of what the future is. It looks kind of bleak, right? So and unemployment rates at an all-time high. So there's a lot of competing factors. It's just trying to figure out what to do next in a world that seems very uncertain.
Yeah, and also I would say a lot of pressures going on within the family settings and also in the society too, in the community and wherever they go. And a lot of them are confused stage, or they don't know what to do, because one other thing is that we had to absolutely point out is that the suicide rate among youth between 19 and 25, especially men. So it's very unfortunate, very sad thing to hear. But at the same time, we had to speak about it. We have to create awareness of what's going on. And absolutely, there are many ways, many opportunities out there. But you had to look into that. You had to be ready. You had to be willing, right? Um, One thing I want to ask you, probably because you are working in the communication skills. So you can agree or you can see even when we are growing in the stage like in the teenage or even after 25 or things like that. Boys we are very you know we don't know how to verbalize our emotions. What type of or what kind of technique or what solution you have for them in order to vocalize their emotions, sharing or any. You don't have to hold it back. What do you have?
I think this is a great question, and I was actually having a conversation with a friend about this not too long ago. We just talked about the notion of emotional intelligence and being able to express yourself in healthy ways. I think part of the challenge and part of the problem, or one of the things that is quite frustrating for me. Um, let's be real. Look, I'm going to go to the school system, right? There's been a disemphasis or a pullback in the arts and the creative arts and the sports and as a form of expression. So now the focus is on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Where's the A? Where are the arts? Where are the after school programs? Where are these things, right? I think that is very important. Those are healthy outlets like drama class or art, like actually the art, like painting and drawing and construction and these type of things with their hands. Boys are, I can speak for myself as an adolescent, very physical in nature, playing sports, running around, trying to let off some steam. I think that's very important. So in terms of having creating that dialogue and the space to talk, right? And sometimes we use sports or maybe basketball as a medium. I was a part of many programs where we would play basketball. Halfway through the program, we'll stop. We have real talk with the leaders, and we'll talk. And sometimes we'll read like a Bible verse and talk about it, and just express ourselves, or just talk about how things went in life. And then we come back to basketball. I've been a part of other programs where it's a little bit of education, a little bit of sports, a little bit of drama, a little bit of, you know what I mean, creating space for people to talk. Shout out to one of my good friends and partners with Hip Hop Healing and the Diversity Talk and Grief Witness. These are a lot of programs and things that are going on in community that provide those safer, braver spaces for folks to engage with one another in healthy ways, right? So I think it's putting an emphasis on those things. Yes, AI is very important. Yes, science is very important. Technology, math is very important, but also having healthy spaces for people just to talk and express themselves in a non-judgmental setting. I think that is critical, right? And getting off the phones and actually seeing each other in real time. There's a lot of social anxiety. People don't know how to talk to each other. And, young people, when I see them, in the stores, they're, very timid. I think getting back in person is very important for young people, especially so they can develop those skills, those communication skills that is lacking. So, you know, I think those are some of the things and opportunities for that should be supported and funded and give the young people a voice because the reality is that they're voiceless right now.
Absolutely. One thing very interesting and sometimes it's very annoying or very sad to see that as you explained, I was thinking, when especially youth, young people, when they are meeting stranger online, they don't feel shy or they don't fear, but they are okay to talk or communicate. But when you see actual person in real time, they don't talk, they don't interact. So it's I'm not sure. We are living in a different world, and then it's a very interesting and absolutely it's a you know I wouldn't say it's a surprising, but it's kind of like a surprise too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So you are the author of Changing Lanes, the first XXV and Poetic Panther. So what inspired to write these books, and what message or lesson do you hope readers, especially young people, take away from them? Well, I want to ask, especially the subtitle or subline, the first XX5 or XXV. What's that? How did you come up with these topics or?
Great question. All right, so changing lanes. Everyone asks me about this. Why did I name the book that, and on why is the subtitle the first XXV? Like I said, I'm an educator, right? So I think it's very important for folks to read in between the lines, right? So changing lanes. When you see the book is changing lanes, what comes to mind? You see a car, you see lanes, changing lanes, but it's also paths, life paths. When they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, except expecting a different result. If something's not working, you're trying this way, it's not working, change your lane, pivot, become a professional pivoter, right? So when it comes to the first XXV, it's the first 25. So XXV is Roman numerals. I wanted people to think like, why did it say XXV? Everybody knows what the iPhone X is, right? iPhone 10. Everyone XX, that's 20. XXV 5 is the next 25. So I wanted folks to actually read and to comprehend and to infer what it could be about, right? So that's what the book is. And like I say in the back of the book, the most inspiring thing is that I'm able to share my story in hopes that it will encourage you to chase your dreams and make them reality. Why did I write this book? It's to motivate one for the younger me, to let me know that hey, anything I put my mind to, I can achieve it, right? Whatever the mind can conceive, I can achieve. I just got to believe and then put into work, right? And also to be an inspiration and a beacon of hope to folks from my community, and also to pay homage and to acknowledge all of the people, places, and things that have poured into me and that have inspired me to become and to do the work that I'm doing to this day, right? So that was the first book. 2016 is actually quite interesting. This year would be the 10th year anniversary on September 20th. October 15th is when I had the book launch. Shout out to my mentor, Michael Pinball Clemens, and many of the folks in community that came out to support. So that's the first book. And the second book is a little bit more, is deep. This one's called Poetic Panther, which is a collection of poetry, of poems, right? Where I get vulnerable. I express myself through prose. And what kind of inspired me to write this is many of my friends in the art and hip hop, poetic poetry community that write and express themselves, and it was something that I was afraid to do, and I just had the courage to do it by their encouragement, and also just to express myself, and also poetic therapy, right? So this was my practice of engaging in poetic therapy in terms of writing poetry and sharing. And lastly, it was very important for me to also share um, share some of the work that I did in terms of some of the work that I did in terms of um, giving folks an opportunity to share their poems and to write in the book as well. Some of my friends and people in the community that haven't been published, or some that have been published, just giving them an opportunity to also share their work and to express themselves in healthy ways. So yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah,
it.
it's happy to hear. And also, I want to highlight one thing I want to share with our audience that I know the neighborhood you've grown up because I used to live in Etobicoke, Kipling and Finch area, Kipling and Steele area. So I'm very familiar with that and Finch area. Nothing bad about or nothing against that. But I just want to highlight one thing is that a lot of people we blame this and that, and then you know what, my situation is bad, I cannot do this and that. But people like yourself, really, we appreciate that, not only coming forward and then sharing your life experiences, life journey, and writing about that, and then doing some works. A lot of people, they can see, understand, and feel it, because that community, that neighborhood has a lot of challenges. Let's put that way, right? So it's very important. People like yourself, when you are working in the community, a lot of people, they can see you as a community leader, and they can learn a lot of things from you guys. So
Also to add to that, I think
yeah.
you're very right with that, right? And another thing that I find it very important to express is that changing lanes is a message that everyone can relate to. You don't have to be born or grow up in the inner city. You could be going through your own type of challenge or your own adversity wherever you live, right? Whether whatever your family unit is, whatever struggle, personal struggle you're having in life, or whatever goal that you're trying to achieve, right? You could use this as motivation to know that whatever your story is, whatever your mountain that you have to climb, you can climb it. You just got to believe in yourself, put in the work, and surround yourself with positive people that inspire and uplift, and it's possible. And I think that's the underlying overlying message within it, and that's why everybody could relate to it, and it doesn't is not just specific to just folks in inner city communities across the world.
And also, one thing I want to connect with that is that Mahatma Gandhi said, when we talk about changes, the changes start within you. So you have to,
Hmm.
right? So you cannot, of course, we can motivate them, we can help them, we can support them, but the changes has to come from inside, within yourself. You cannot. Um, we cannot do so much to an individual or to a person, so he can get up and then walk or things like that. So it has to, the willingness has to be there, and whatever the situation is, right, you have to think, okay, you know what, I want to come out from this situation, I want to um, change my life. That's the bottom line is. Anyway, I do have two more questions before we end close. I do have a few announcements, and then I will come back to you, Augustine. Stay there, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Yep. So people watching, you can see those. I just displayed a couple of links. His email address, his website address, and also the link for his book, one of the books. So you can check them out. And announcements from our side: open up sharing your life journey, the one you are watching. It's a live talk show. It's on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Willie is another time of the live talk, so it's on Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Monthly men's group meeting, only for men by men, second Saturday of every month from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, through Zoom. No recordings. Please join through Zoom. The link is available on our Facebook page and group. There are no limitations on gender, age, nationality, or ethnicity. People from all walks of life can participate in any of our shows. If you would like to be a guest on any of our shows or are interested in joining our organization, whether directly or indirectly, please reach out to us. We would love to work with individuals, professionals, experts, community organizations, yeah, associations, corporations, government officials, and businesses. Phone number is 226 289 8784. Email address info@voiceomen360.org. Website www.voiceomen360.org. You can find us on all the social media platforms, Facebook group and page we have. Join our group to see our daily activities. Please invite your friends as well. Other social media platforms are Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Voice of Men 360. Um, we have done over 650 episodes, so you can watch some of those episodes. There are various topics and things like that. So, absolutely, the one of the important area that we are working on creating awareness about men's and boys issues. Um, Coming back to you, Augustine, through poetic therapy and your consulting work, what services do you provide, and how do you use education, storytelling, culture, and therapeutic approaches to support individuals, families, and communities?
Yeah, so I'm connected with, a lot of folks in community, um, that are doing a lot of great work, a lot of organizations, a lot of individuals who are supporting the community. So in terms of me consulting, what some of the things that I do is just connect folks with opportunities and create spaces and places for individuals to thrive. Everything's on my website. You can connect with the website, and I encourage you all to take a look and take a gander. Um, More specifically, like public speaking, consulting, connecting, doing assessments on organizations and things of that nature. At the current moment, I'm taking a break, um, just to focus on myself. However, there are great opportunities and great people that I connect with, and there are organizations that I could pass you along to or connect you with, so that you guys can do the great work. So yeah, man, just take a look. Feel free to email me, send a message, and I'll connect you to the appropriate resources. Hello?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to unmute. Um, Absolutely, I was saying like I was displaying the links, email address, and website address, and links for your book. People can check them out. The last question I want to ask is that if you could give parents, educators, and young people one message about literacy, family, and faith that could strengthen the next generation, what would it be?
Hmm. One message. I would say it's never too late. It can start from today. It doesn't matter where you started from and how bleak the future may look. If you start today and choose yes and say yes to today, you could start on a trajectory for success and greatness and a better relationship with yourself, with your children, with your faith as well, and just know that you have it all in you. Just believe, and put in the work, and it'll all work out. It won't be easy, but it'll be worth it.
Absolutely. I remember one post message or somewhere I read it a long time back on social media or somehow, um, that you don't have to, even if you start late, you don't have to compare with other people, because everyone, they have their own um, speed or own journey to
Mm-hmm.
go through it. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
too late. It's not you know, you didn't miss anything. It's your own journey. So you can absolutely start wherever you are. You can change your lane. You can change your direction in a positive way. Absolutely, it's a great pleasure to have you, Augustine. Time to time, I come to Toronto, so I mean, we can meet. Probably we can do something together. And for the audience who are watching, if you guys are interested to join our podcast and willing to share your life journey and able to discuss men's issues, absolutely you are welcome. There are no limitations with age, gender, nationality, or ethnic group, anything. So anywhere you don't know, we don't know, somewhere at the corner, or somebody is watching, and then they can hear one word or one line or the whole story. It can change them. So writing a book and speaking about it and creating awareness absolutely makes some sort of noise, some sort of awareness and positive impact. Whatever we can do, absolutely we can do that. Thank you once again, Augustine. Great pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for listening.
Absolutely.
Everyone have a blessed day. Take care.
Thank you.